Hi students, I hope all are fine. So we were listening to the experience of Andrew Patras, how he had been in an earthquake in Tokyo. So we found that he just ran out of the building in which he was, and he was staying in an open ground in a park which was completely covered by so many skyscrapers, means so many tall buildings. So now let us see what was happening. The noise was unreal. You could hear the buildings creak and groan as they shook in their foundations. I wanted to get as far away from these buildings as possible, but in Tokyo, finding any truly open space is virtually impossible. Okay, so what happened? He could hear the noise was very hard. He could not take the noise because it was so loud. Okay, it was shaking, everything was shaking, and he found so many crackings on the buildings because the buildings were simply shaking like that because of the earthquake. And he wanted to go to a really open space, but he says in Tokyo it was very hard to find because the buildings were everywhere, so it was hard to find any open place in Tokyo. Then I turned to look at the building that I had just run out of. It was convulsing uncontrollably. You could still hear the ground rattling as thousands of people evacuated the buildings. I started to shoot photos of everything that was happening. So he says he could not find in Tokyo. It was not. He was. It is not possible to find any open space in Tokyo, and he just turned to the building from where he came out of, and he found that building was shaking very heavily, very uncontrollably, and he could find that people moved out of people got evacuated from those buildings. Even then it was shaking like anything, and he could hear sounds. He could hear the vibration or sounds of the vibration from the place, okay, from where he was standing. And what he did, he took out his camera. We know that he was a photographer, right? So he took out his camera, he began to shoot the photos of all that was happening. I stood in that park for a good 2 hours, as did almost everyone else. During this time, the ground continued to tremble, albeit less violently. I would find out later that afternoon that the quake was of magnitude 8.9, the strongest earthquake to hit Japan in recorded history. Okay, what happened? So he began to shoot the photos of the quake, and he stood there in that park for almost 2 hours. Okay, not only he, all those people who were there, who got evacuated, came to the park because only the park had bit of a open space. And what happened that afternoon? And so he found that even after 2 years, there was a vibration, there was shaking, but very mildly, okay, less violently. Then he in the afternoon he found out that the quake was of a magnitude 8.9. Okay, we found in the last class I showed you the magnitude of the earthquakes, how fatal earthquakes can be, and this one is 8.9, the strongest earthquake to hit Japan in recorded history. Okay, we saw that. Then some people were visibly shaken. There were a few women crying, people pointing up at the buildings as they shook, but many others appeared calm and relaxed. So everyone was very frightened. Okay, they were not out of the shock or the earthquake. Okay, so many people were crying, some women were crying, almost everyone was shaken, but there were also people who were really calm. Okay, was just looking at what was being happening. Then, making my way back to my hotel was an epic journey. The rail system in Tokyo was completely shut down, and millions were trying to make their way home on foot. The streets were gridlocked, but I didn't learn how catastrophic the event had actually been until I got to my hotel and turned on the news. The coastal areas of Japan, especially a few hundred miles to the north, were devastated beyond recognition by a tsunami. Okay, what happened? Now, after 2 hours, everything was fine. The shaking reduced. Okay, it was less violent, and people were trying to go go to their houses where they stayed, but it was very difficult because the rail system was completely down in the earthquake, and everyone had to go on foot. They had to go by walking. Even our author, he had to walk in order to reach his hotel. So when he reached the hotel, only he found out that how how devastating this particular earthquake was, how catastrophic, means how much of destruction it had caused. He found out when he switched on the television, he found out that the area was fully gone because of the earthquake, because the uh, north area of means the coastal areas of Japan, it was hit by a very devastating tsunami. Okay, because of a tsunami, so much of place was under water, and there was so much of destruction because of this earthquake. So he found it out when he reached his hotel room only. And when he switched on the news, he found out that so much of destruction was done because of the earthquake. As I write this, the aftershocks are still hitting hard. I'm on dry land and yet I feel seasick. I have lived through many frightening days. I nearly drowned last year while whitewater rafting in Africa. But this earthquake will be forever burned in my memory as the most harrowing experience of all. I saw 100-story buildings sway like palm trees in the wind as the earth revolted beneath my feet. Now, I think I have seen it all. Okay, the author says, okay, he was writing this particular article, and even when he was writing, he was still in shock because he was really shaken because of the earthquake. Okay, though he was in dry land, he was feeling that he was in the sea, like drowning. Okay, even he had that experience of drowning. Means the year before he writes this particular article, when he was in Africa while doing a rafting, he uh, he was near drowning. Okay, he went in the water and he had to be rescued. So he was thinking of all that, but even the earthquake had more trauma, more shock caused to him than when he drowned. Okay, when he was drowning, this particular earth, as he says, it was burned to his memory. Okay, means to say that it is a like a photocopy of all that had happened, because he witnessed it with his own eyes. Okay, because he saw 100-story buildings swaying like palm trees, means shaking this way that way like that because of the earthquake. And he says he has seen it all, and it will never go off from his memory because he has experienced it, and it has become a kind of a trauma for him, a real shock for him, because he was there in the in the earthquake and he witnessed it. And he has also taken some photos of it also, and he writes this to the magazine, okay, about his experience. All right, that's about his experience of the earthquake. So now what we have is some of the vocabularies that we need to pay attention to. Okay, now I hope you have understood the chapter about his experience. Okay, about the tsunami, about, okay, about the earthquake and the tsunami which is caused by the earthquake. All right, so we have certain vocabularies. First, convulsing means shaking suddenly. Evacuated, moved from a place of danger to a safer place. Albeit means although. Epic, an adventurous, eventful, and important journey. Gridlocked means crowded with traffic on all the streets, so that no movement is possible. Then catastrophic means disastrous. Harrowing experience, very shocking or frightening experience. Okay, this earthquake was considered, the experience in the earthquake for him was was a heroic experience, isn't it? That's what the author says. It was a very shocking and frightening experience. Okay, we have a worksheet to do. Okay, that is, answer these questions with reference to the context. Okay, I ran for the door about 60 feet away. Where was the writer at this time? What made him act this way? What did he compare the experience to? What was he reminded of at this moment? Okay, these are some of the questions, and write the context and answer it. Okay, I hope today's class is clear to you. All right, so do this worksheet. Thanks to everybody, and bye.